Let's boost your English skills.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Boost English podcast. I'm your host, Olivia. Thank you for tuning in again. Today, we have a special episode. Actually, it's always special here, right? But this one is extra fun because we have a guest. Well, he's not entirely new, but I'm excited he's here.
Hey, Olivia. Thanks for having me again. I'm happy to be back. I've missed chatting with you and our wonderful listeners.
Great to have you, Billy. Before we jump into our main topic, how have you been? Anything new or exciting going on in your life?
I've been good, thanks. I started going to a new gym. It's one of those 24-hour places. I actually went at 3 a.m. once, which was interesting. How about you?
Wow, 3 a.m. workouts sound both crazy and impressive. I've been busy with work, but I did try a new pizza place last weekend. It was amazing, and now I'm obsessed.
Pizza at a new spot and a 3 a.m. gym session? I guess we're both trying new things in our own ways. Really different ways, but still new.
Right. All right, let's tell our listeners what we have planned. In this episode, we're going to talk about the best way to break a bad habit. We'll share 3 key strategies and chat about how to apply them.
Yes, we'll discuss real tips and real stories. We'll keep it simple and fun, so you can listen, laugh a bit, and also learn some useful English.
Exactly. So, for anyone who's here for the first time, welcome. In this podcast, we hold conversations in American English about a specific topic. Listening will help you improve your English skills while picking up new words.
Yes, and we'll make sure to explain tricky words or idioms at the end. So don't worry if you hear something you don't understand immediately.
That's right. And speaking of which, let's jump into our main topic. The best way to break a bad habit. Billy, do you have any bad habits?
I do. One of my bad habits is snacking at midnight. I keep telling myself I won't do it, but then I find myself in the kitchen with a cookie. Or 2. Maybe 3.
Midnight snacking is tough to resist. My bad habit used to be biting my nails when I was nervous. It was really hard to stop, but I managed.
So, what's our first strategy for breaking a bad habit?
First, identify the trigger. That means you have to look at what makes you start your bad habit. For me, I realized I bit my nails whenever I was stressed.
I see. So, in my case, the trigger for midnight snacking might be feeling bored or restless at night. So I could plan something else for that time, right?
Exactly. That leads us to the second strategy. Replace the bad habit with a better one. Instead of just stopping, it helps to fill that gap with a positive alternative.
Right. So if I always grab a cookie at midnight, I could try drinking a glass of water or maybe herbal tea instead. Do you think that would really help?
It can. Some people find chewing sugar-free gum or munching on carrots helps with the urge to snack. It depends on your preference. How about you?
I like the idea of tea, maybe chamomile. It's calming and might stop me from reaching for cookies. But I might have to hide the cookies too.
That's a good plan. Sometimes out of sight is out of mind. I used to paint my nails or use a stress ball when I felt nervous so I wouldn't bite them.
Sounds good. So after identifying triggers and replacing the habit, what's the third strategy?
The third strategy is to get some accountability. That means telling a friend or family member about your goal or even writing it down publicly. This way, you feel more responsible.
Yes, that works. If I tell my friend I won't snack at midnight, he'll check on me. Then I'd feel guilty if I ate that cookie. Guilt can be motivating, right?
It sure can, but in a healthy way. Also, apps can track your progress, or you can keep a simple journal. Just make sure there's some system to keep you on track.
Thanks, Olivia. These tips sound really doable, but, it's often easier said than done. Sometimes I just forget everything and give in.
That happens to everyone. Breaking a bad habit can take time. Experts say it might take around 21 days or sometimes even longer to form a new habit.
Really? I heard 21 days was a myth. Some people say it could be 66 days, but I guess the exact number isn't the point. It's about staying consistent.
Right. The exact number may differ, but the key is consistent effort. Keep going, even if you slip up once. A small setback doesn't mean you failed.
So, Olivia, do you have any funny stories about trying to break a habit?
Oh, yes, I once tried to stop eating chocolate for a month, but I love chocolate so much. On day 5, I saw a new dessert ad and I caved. It was bad.
Oh no, did you feel terrible?
I felt guilty for about an hour. Then I reminded myself that one slip up isn't the end. I started again the next day and did better overall.
That's encouraging, so we shouldn't let one mistake destroy our progress. That's a good reminder.
Exactly. And sometimes a bit of moderation works better than cold turkey. If you aim for zero chocolate, the moment you see chocolate, you might lose control.
That's so true. With my midnight snacking, maybe I can allow myself a small, healthy snack earlier in the evening so I'm not starving when midnight comes.
Great idea. And if you do snack at midnight, try something like yogurt or fruit instead of cookies. That small switch can help you ease into healthier habits.
Right. I like that. I guess the main point is to know what triggers you, swap the habit with something better, and stay accountable. That's the big picture, right?
Exactly. We need to remind ourselves that it's a process. People sometimes expect instant results. It rarely happens that fast.
Patience is key. But I have to say, midnight is the toughest time. You know, your brain says cookie and your willpower is half asleep.
Totally. Maybe you can place a note on your fridge saying, Billy, remember your goal, or something like that.
That could help. I can write it in big letters and maybe draw a cookie with an X through it. Visual reminders are pretty powerful.
Yes, they are. I actually had a sticky note on my laptop that said, keep your nails pretty. That helped me avoid biting them.
Nice. So we have some personal experiences here. Any other tips or funny moments you'd like to share?
Well, I tried an app that let me mark every day I didn't bite my nails. It gave me this silly digital badge each week. I got so excited by that badge. It was silly, but it worked.
That's awesome. Sometimes the silliest rewards are the best. I might try a similar app for my midnight snacks. Maybe it will give me a virtual trophy or something.
Probably. And that's a form of accountability too. You keep track, and the app shows your progress. It feels good to see your success recorded somewhere.
It does. I guess we have to turn these ideas into habits. Otherwise, we'll be back to square one. It's like learning English. You have to practice daily, right?
Exactly like that. Daily practice, small steps, big results over time. So let's summarize. Number 1, find your trigger. Number 2, replace the bad habit. Number 3, get accountability.
Yes, that's our blueprint. If listeners remember those 3 points, they'll be off to a great start in breaking any bad habit they have.
Absolutely. So, Billy, do you feel motivated to tackle your midnight cookie routine now?
Definitely. I'm already thinking of what tea to buy. I'll also text my friend after this podcast to help me stay accountable.
That's excellent. Don't forget to place that note on your fridge. And maybe hide the cookies in the highest cabinet, just to add an extra challenge.
Good idea. I'm not super tall, so that might really stop me. Or at least slow me down, which might be enough to rethink my life choices at 3 a.m.
Exactly. And for me, I'll keep my nails painted nicely. That way, I won't want to ruin them. It's always best to have some kind of incentive or barrier.
Yes, we humans often need both. A positive incentive and a small barrier to the bad habit. That can be a winning combo.
Right? I love how it's so simple, but we often overlook it. We're like, I'll just magically stop. Then we wonder why it doesn't work.
True. We need a plan. Speaking of plans, we should probably move on to the final section soon, where we explain some of the tricky words and idioms we used.
Yes, absolutely. Let's do that now. We've shared our tips, so let's help our listeners understand some of the more challenging vocabulary from our talk. Okay, let's define a few words and phrases that popped up. One that stands out is trigger. Billy, how would you define trigger?
Trigger means something that causes a reaction or starts a process. In our case, it's the situation or feeling that leads you to do your bad habit.
Right. For example, stress can be a trigger for biting nails, or boredom can be a trigger for midnight snacking. Next, how about cold turkey?
Going cold turkey means to stop doing something suddenly and completely without gradually easing off. People often use it for quitting smoking or sugar.
Exactly. Some people succeed with cold turkey, but others find it too abrupt. Another phrase we used was, out of sight is out of mind.
That means if you don't see something, you won't think about it as much. For instance, if cookies aren't visible, you might not crave them.
Right. Hide the cookies so you're not tempted. Next, we said accountability. Let's break that down.
Sure. Accountability is the idea that you take responsibility for your actions, often by having someone else check on you or setting up a system to track your behavior.
Great. We also mentioned moderation. How would you explain that?
Moderation means not doing something too much or too little, finding a balance. Instead of cutting all chocolate, you allow a little so you don't feel deprived.
Good. Then there was the phrase, a small setback doesn't mean you failed. Setback refers to a temporary problem or something that slows your progress, right?
Exactly. A setback is like a minor stumbling block that shouldn't stop you from continuing your journey.
Perfect. We also talked about visual reminders. Can you explain that one?
A visual reminder is anything you see that prompts you to remember your goal, like a sticky note on the fridge or a sign on your desk.
Right? It's a helpful way to keep your focus when your mind wanders. Another phrase we used is slip up.
Yes, a slip-up means a small mistake or moment of failure. It's not the end of the world. It just means you made an error and can get back on track.
Exactly. And we also mentioned blueprint. We said, that's our blueprint. How do you define that?
A blueprint is like a detailed plan or outline for doing something. It originally referred to a technical drawing, but now we use it more generally for any plan.
Yes. Finally, we use the phrase, turn these ideas into habits. That's straightforward, but it basically means to incorporate these tips into your daily routine so they become automatic.
Right. The goal is to make positive actions feel natural, almost like second nature. That's the whole point of habit building.
Indeed, and that's the best way to ensure long-term success. So listeners, now you have some key vocabulary and idioms explained.
We hope this helps you understand our conversation more clearly. And, of course, we hope these tips help you break your own bad habits.
Yes, thank you for sticking with us today. Billie, any final words for our audience?
Just a friendly reminder. Remember to identify your triggers, replace the bad habit with something better, and keep yourself accountable. You've got this.
Exactly. And if you slip up, don't panic. Just try again. Thanks so much for listening to the Boost English podcast. Until next time, keep practicing and keep improving.
Thanks, everyone. See you next time. Good luck with those habits.